that's him 100%. I mean, without me hearing his voice, I'm like, it's unconfirmed. But if you got friends that knew him and grew up with him saying it's confirmed, then I gotta say, hey, yeah, this is probably Brian Koberger. But I did send it into the FBI. I did clip that. I also went through 80,000 phone calls, found the number, sent it into the FBI as well, and they have that, and hopefully they get down to that information.
Good. Do you know that they are in receipt of it? Did they come back to you at all?
I know they have it. I never got an email back yet.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the stream 4/18/2024, day 53 into the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Again, you see the title. It says Chris passed the TBI polygraph. And here, yesterday on the show, we heard from a source that he passed, right? Jennifer Coffin-Daffer jumped into him passing. So I had to go find this and look at the post. Says somebody that goes by the name of Burton Staggs. Let's look again right here. Burton Staggs says a source with knowledge tells me that Chris Proudfoot passed his polygraph today with the TBI. Now, this was on April 16th when this was reported out. Okay, so April 16th, this was reported out that he passed his polygraph. I don't know who the source was or who told him that he passed it, but that information was shared here yesterday when I had the interview with Jennifer. So that was news to me. We were wondering if he passed or not. Did he pass? And allegedly they're saying he did. What's going on, Tracy? Welcome to the stream. You said this case is taking too long to solve. No answers. So you have Katie, who allegedly took a test. She passed. You have Chris, who allegedly took a test. He passed. And then we have the results for Seth coming out this week on Nancy Grace. And if you are just joining and you're wondering what's going on in this case, there is a vigil for all locals who are local. Again, 6 p.m. Saturday on the 20th of April, there's a prayer vigil for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, and it will be taking place at the Beach High School, which is 3126 Long Hollow Pike, Hendersonville, Tennessee, 37075. And Seth sent me this today. Again, there will be a prayer vigil this Saturday, and it is at 6 p.m. at the Beach High School in Hendersonville, Tennessee. So if you want to go by there, support Seth. He will be out there. I don't know who else will be there. Will the Proudfoots go to this vigil? I have no idea. You said impossible that Chris passed. The people who know them had to rig it. Chris is a liar and should retake the polygraph again. I mean, didn't Ted Bundy pass one? And that's a good point that's always brought up. You said great timing for me. Been getting ready for a Doobie concert. Oh, wow. After listening to the dispatch call, I have a whole new theory and outlook on what happened. Is that right? Well, I'll be opening the lines in a minute. I'm going to play this video. And also, what have you guys seen this Uvalde Foundation? Look at this Uvalde Foundation. What is going on here? Are you hearing the same thing that I'm hearing? Allegedly, there's some type of scam charity fund. I don't know what's going on with them, but I know this account follows me. They follow me on here. I don't know who they are, but they're saying that they had some type of information and developments in this case. But what do these people know that I don't? Because I talk to Seth Rogers damn near every day and ask for updates and do get those if he has something to give. So again, what do they know? What developments did they get that we were not able to get? That's what I want to know. That doesn't mean he's passed. I don't believe. You don't believe that. Tracy says, I don't believe it. Show the paper. I heard that as a rumor. Well, again, Burton Staggs, if you guys know who Burton Staggs is reporting a source with knowledge tells me that Chris Proudfoot passed his polygraph today with the TBI. And that was on the 16th. So you say Chris passed, Seth came back inconclusive. Nope, not today. Where you getting the inconclusive from? Would you use a source without knowledge?
Bing bong.
That's a good point. I think that's a great point. Hold on, let's pull up this Uvalde post that I shared earlier. It's right here. Now I'll even read it because they were talking about Uvalde Foundation for Kids founder addresses the Sebastian Rogers case. The Uvalde Foundation for Kids recently announced via various social networking sites. And I talked to Seth Rogers. He told me he has not spoken with this or these people one time at all. Has zero knowledge from them, that he has not spoke to them. And again, it does say the Uvalde Foundation for Kids recently announced via various social networking sites, including Twitter and Facebook or X, that it is ending its various search efforts to find missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Since that announcement, as of this morning, several of our posts to this effect were removed by our media team members due to inappropriate messages being tagged to those postings. We felt it's necessary to clarify that the foundation is, in fact, ending its search efforts. I personally, as the founder of the foundation, felt it time briefly to address this and a few other related items more formally. I've already seen this. Many have asked why we have ceased our efforts for Sebastian. Many have also even gone on more recently to question the legitimacy of our involvement in this case. With recent theorists, listen to this. With recent theorists going so far as to challenge the legitimacy of both our hearts and efforts. Overall, as a foundation, a rather entertaining amateur news report on our foundation from our beginnings, now almost 2 years ago, has even been circulated. It is time for more formally to respond. And as the founder of the Uvalde Foundation for Kids, that task ultimately falls upon my shoulders. I don't know. I feel like I'm reading a bunch of drama. Like we want to know about Sebastian. We're Team Sebastian here. That's all I do know. Team Sebastian, Wayne Drake Rogers, 53 days. He's been missing, left from the house allegedly barefooted, but yet no dogs, no search teams, nobody can find him. Point blank, period. Nobody can find this kid. So you got search teams out the yang out here in Hendersonville. They searched all around the area allegedly of where he took off at. And again, if he was in that area, I feel he would have been found already. Just take a look at cases that you followed in the past where somebody had disappeared from around their house or was found by a search team or dogs. And there's plenty of cases that we could reference to that, by the way. What's going on, Boona Baby? Welcome to the stream. I'm about to open the lines up too here in 1 second. But I want to jump in. I'm going to play this quick update too.
Well, it's been 51 days since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers went missing from his Sumner County home.
The sheriff's office there telling Fox 17 News they've had no viable leads to finding the boy with autism. And now Sebastian's father is making a public plea for the FBI to take over this case.
There's even a petition now. Fox 17 News' investigative reporter, Kelly Avellino, you've been following this case since the beginning. So what can you share with us this Wednesday morning?
Well, this has been a devastating, traumatic, and certainly frustrating experience for Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers.
Yes, it
has.
has.
He has taken off work every single day since Sebastian went missing to help search for him, and still there has been no trace of his son. Sebastian is believed to have walked off from his home in the Shackle Island community of Sumner County in the middle of the night back on February 25th. That, according to his mother and stepfather, Katie and Chris Proudfoot. But now Seth Rogers has launched an online petition.
Hey, look, man, all I did was copy and paste what was sent to me
and take the lead on this case and to investigate it as a criminal matter as well. Take a look. Seth Rogers writes here, "We want the FBI to take over the investigation of the case of missing Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers from Sumner County Sheriff's Office. It has been 50 days since Sebastian has gone missing. No scent trail from dogs, no video footage of Sebastian leaving his mother's house, yet no criminal investigation at all by TBI or Sumner County Sheriff's Office." That petition has nearly 12,000 signatures this morning.
Yeah, 12,000. It's at 13,914 right now. Can we get it to 15,000? Can we get it to 15,000? Make sure you sign this petition. I open up the lines 219-885-9693. I do want to hear from you guys. But again, like He didn't disappear. He didn't just walk off from his house. Something else has got to be investigated.
You can find it on my Facebook page.
The
Sheriff's Office, TBI, and trained teams from around the state did search a 5-mile radius around Sebastian's home the week after he went missing. They researched that same area earlier this month. Sumner County Chief Deputy Eric Craddock saying there has been no evidence of foul play, but nothing is being ruled out at this point, he says. Now, I checked in with the Sheriff's Office and TBI again yesterday and have not yet heard back. Meantime, I can tell you that volunteer search teams continue to help Seth Rogers canvassing areas in Sumner County outside of that initial 5-mile radius. Erica and Jen.
So where
Taylorsville police are sounding.
Like, where could he be at this point? That's what I don't understand. Where could he be at? And whatever the reason is, no, we don't want to see that. No, just as holding parents accountable when their child enters a school and kills students is appropriate. 1 second. I need to make a phone call, actually. We're gonna make this phone call real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's make this phone call. 724. I got you. $283. Okay, here we go. 1 second. Let's pull this up real quick.
Hello.
What is going on there, Kevin? How you doing today, brother?
Good, T-REV. How you doing?
Yeah, man. Reaching out to you. What's going on, man? We're live. We're on the air right now. I'm just giving you a quick phone call. I know that law enforcement perspective, and you had a few new thoughts that you wanted to share with us, and I'm curious to hear them.
Well, before we go any further, it is, you and I had a little minor text exchange beforehand.
Yeah.
And I did want the listeners to know that you kind of vetted me, all right? And I think that that's absolutely important that you did that. And I did want everyone to know I am former military and involved in law enforcement in there. I wasn't a high government official. I wasn't in the FBI, CIA, anything like that. So I wanted the listeners to know that I just think of things different is all,
Right.
I come at it from a different perspective. And, a lot of it comes from, I just believe, and they throw numbers out there like 90%.
Right.
Like 90% of the brain we don't use. And I think that, we can have access to those areas and stuff, and things like that. So, first you have to believe you can do that. So, I just look at things different is all. But, where do you want to go? You have to ask me something.
It's day 53, man. No answers whatsoever. Allegedly, he took his polygraph, passed it. She took her polygraph, passed it. Then you have Seth's. So, and people are talking about inconclusive on Seth's. But, what do you do on day 53 with no signs whatsoever? I'm talking about absolutely no scent, no trail. How would you go about this? How do you go about finding Sebastian at this point? It feels like we're at a dead end, bro. And a lot of people are losing faith. And I'm one of those people that is just like, I'm not losing faith, but day 53, there's not even video camera footage that shows this kid in sight anywhere. Nothing.
Yeah. You know what? I don't really think we're at a dead end. Okay. I'm not losing faith. But I will say that I believe that, at this point in time, we're trying to find remains and so forth. Okay. And that's what I'm looking at law enforcement and how they're kind of responding. And it's kind of telling me that they're along those same lines. they don't have all this equipment right there outside of the police station, but they have access to a lot of stuff that they could be using, you know, if they think that he's out there in the woods or anything, you know, but they're not. So I believe that they know what the end result is. It's just figure out, you know, who. And I think that they have a sneaking suspicion. You know, see, like in the beginning, okay, in the beginning, time is not on law enforcement's side. You got to move very fast, you know, the first 48-hour type of thing.
Right.
Okay. And all that was done and everything. And they probably, at some point in time, came to the same conclusion that I have. Okay. So now, in a sense, time is on our side. Okay. Of course, they're compassionate people and they would want to do what they could to find him, remove him from where he's at, and start, you know, proper burial type stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't see them, you know,
they don't even have a sign. It's like they don't even have a sign of him. You know, no blood, no nothing. Where's the sign of? If there's no sign of that, then what can you know what I mean? Are they going to say he's dead?
Yeah. I mean, there, you know, for this all to happen, you know, blood does not have to happen. I mean, you know, a possible situation is that that pocket of fluid, you know, in his head, that's a real sensitive area for him. You know, maybe he was struck in that area and that kind of like erupted in, you know, an aneurysm kind of thing. You know, that may produce some blood. It has the potential coming out of a person's like nose, mouth, and ears, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, something could have happened, you know, just where that type of evidence isn't available.
Yeah, I don't.
You know,
there's just nothing out there. They need to explain their lies, and that's. I mean, what stands out the most to you in this whole entire case, from a law enforcement perspective? Let's say you were working the case and you've seen these different things, you know, circulating social media, but you're behind the scenes working. I mean, what would be your thought process when you see these type of things and people pointing fingers? I mean, I know, you know, we're all human, but when you put yourself into law enforcement shoes and they're hearing and seeing all these different things, where do you start at with that?
You know, I don't know where you start. I was listening to somebody last night and they were saying, well, you know, this should be about Sebastian, all about Sebastian, you know, all the drama and chaos that's going on around it, you know, with like the three individuals, you know, like they're right. And they're trying to say that all that other stuff shouldn't be happening. I'm not saying that's good, but sometimes in order to get to him, you have to go through them, though, you know. I don't agree. I don't like the way the situation is kind of going on with all of that. But yeah, I mean, some things are designed though to make, you know, individuals crack, if you will. I'll say that, and I see that happening soon.
You think that's gonna happen?
I do.
Think people are gonna crack soon?
Yeah. I mean, you know, like two people are sitting at a table trying to have a meal.
Right.
Okay. And he could be looking at her thinking, oh my God, is she going to say something? And she could be looking back at him and saying, oh, wow, he said he's going to, you know, he has something to do later on. Is he going to get in his truck, pick up the phone and make that call?
Right.
You know? And, you know, the old expression, the person that talks first gets the best deal. It won't be a good deal, but it'll be better than the other one, you know?
And it's, I don't know, man. It's like if they have nothing to go off, they're not going to arrest anyone, you know? That's where I'm stuck at, because it lingers on cases like, and you got to refer back to Summer Wells because she still to this day.
Yeah, that's an awful case. That's awful. But see, you're saying they don't have anything. I believe they have lots. Okay.
Well, I mean, to the public eye,
because
they have nothing, but that's what they want us to think. You know what I mean? They want
absolutely.
And I get that. But I'm saying as people, and I'm just saying that as a person who wakes up every day and looks for different things, even because sometimes things are leaked onto the internet. So when I wake up, I'm looking up Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers or Sebastian Rogers in Google, and I'm seeing what information I can come up with, or where, or go by a few places, message Seth, etc. I'm looking, and I'm just saying, from somebody who is reporting and watching this case, seeing no new information surface whatsoever besides washed up ass TBI, lie detector test, and all this type of, we're hearing about the drama that's going on, which I get it. Every case has drama, but just there's no answers to where he is, and it's Team Sebastian all day long. We want to know where Sebastian is.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I feel that way. My only involvement is from an emotional point of view. I just believe that, of course, they would know a lot. They're not going to tell us, because if they tell us, they tell them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that could be going on, but I think the main focus is like, I don't think that they're stressed out to that level because they know the outcome. And I see them, like, their actions tell me that. I mean, law enforcement, So,
yeah, law enforcement.
But it's awful.
It is awful, man. It's awful, but nothing whatsoever. You got Seth hired what? Two new PIs. So it's like they're digging into stuff. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes, I did. And I listened to your guest last night, and she made some points where they can be beneficial as opposed to things they can't do. But those guys can be pretty slick. They can.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Because obviously the vast majority of them would be former law enforcement. So, yeah.
Slick as he get. Well, look, all right. So, Kevin.
Yeah.
What are we thinking? I mean, what are you thinking that we're going to get some answers here? You can never determine that, but I'm just curious. When do you think finally some answers are going to surface? Because I'm going to tell you this much right now: a lot of people have lost complete faith into this whole entire case, or either one moved on to a different case, or I see that go. I see a lot of that going on. People giving up on Sebastian being found, and that's heartbreaking to see that in the community where. And there's plenty of faces of young kids that are missing, and people in general. You got Elijah View, who is still missing. And there's you see that whole list of Tennessee children that were missing. I mean, all the way from 13 up to 17, hundreds.
I did.
Hundreds.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why people are thinking that way. I don't believe law enforcement has given up. It just takes time, though. It just takes time, and unfortunately, I have to be okay with that, and I have to trust that they're doing things, and they're not going to pick up the phone and call me. That's for damn well sure. But I think that they're doing things, and they're looking at it from a different perspective, and a lot of people think that they should be out there in the community. They should be vocal, and they should be showing a presence, and stuff like that. And I can understand why they're not. I don't think people understand that at this time, it's not really important for them to do that. That's just how I feel. But I know that I honestly believe that they are working it hard. in certain aspects, to try to figure out what happened.
Well, we found this. From what I was hearing, they went in the house 10 times.
I heard that last night on your show.
Yeah, they went in this house 10 times. We're not finding no crime scene in this house.
You might not, T-REV. You might not. Someone could be unalived and no crime scene at all. No blood or anything. I mean, and that is, if you take the scenario, which I think is probable, is that maybe something happened, an argument, and he was hit in the head, and it started out as an accident, but had to be covered up. I'm thinking something like that is highly probable,
Yeah. Somebody said a picture.
But there could be.
What are we talking about? Photos an hour ago were uploaded. What photos are we talking about? I'm curious. Somebody said something about
photos,
images posted an hour ago. I'm trying to figure out what images they're talking about. NFT. Let me know what you're talking about. I'll be looking for you. But yeah, this is what were you saying? My bad. I got caught my attention. I seen somebody say, "Did you see the photos that dropped an hour ago?" What photos we talking about?
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I'm looking too. Like, what photos? We're nosy. We want to know everything.
Yeah, but like, you can have a scene where someone's unalived, okay, and no like red stuff, and because the young guy lived in that house, his DNA is going to be all over that house. It would be kind of hard to determine if something nefarious happened.
Yeah.
In a sense, there's a lot of different ways we could go with this.
Has good insight.
Hey, I wanted to run something by you. This is kind of a cool, funny thing.
Yeah, run it.
Okay, I think you're gonna like this. I wake up today, and I'm going to the store. It's close enough where it's easier for me to walk as opposed to drive. Okay. And I'm thinking about true crime stuff, and I'm thinking, you know what? There's a good amount of people that are going to be in this store. Possibility exists. Someone might be into true crime. They might be part of the Rev gang, but I'll never know it.
Right.
So, okay, so maybe this. If you give permission to all of us to play one of your little sound bites, like when you hit the button and it comes on like, oh my God. Okay.
Oh my God.
Let's just, yeah, buddy. Okay. So, hey, look, let's say that I have that on my phone.
Right.
Okay. And I go to the part of that store where the vast majority of the people are congregating at. And I bust that out. Okay. Everyone's going to look at me, right? But there might be a person that like recognizes that and they're like, oh my God, wouldn't that be totally cool? I think we should all do that with your permission.
Yeah, it's all. I don't care who uses whatever. It don't matter to me. That's a good question though. Smoke on that too. Nobody questioned the bite marks. The bite marks were pulled out. I thought it was talked about with the dogs though, or that a Yorkie did it, right?
Yeah, that was talked about. Said come from a dog. A lot of people who are very smart are debunking that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was it? But the thing is, though, that it'll go to show you that either one, they already seen or knew about it. Maybe the police said, "Let me look at your arms." Did they do that during that time? I mean, only they know that. You know what I mean? Do you have any marks, anything, anything noticeable? You could put on long sleeve shirt and that not be noticeable whatsoever. So, being they were kind of treating it as a runaway. And I watched the video of the dispatch call that Jessica Danielle put together, which was a very good video. She put the first 11 hours and it seemed like they were treating it as he ran away. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
So treating it as he ran away, my thing is, then when you're treating the shit as a runaway, criminals are getting away. if something criminally happened to him. That's what I'm trying to say. And they're saying that it's an open investigation, not a criminal investigation. If you're not investigating for anything criminal, of course there's going to be nothing criminal. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I'm getting at here. They're saying open investigation. It's not a criminal investigation. They treated it like a runaway. So everything is telling me, okay, they think he ran away and they're not investigating this as a crime or no crime. There's no sign of a crime being committed. Allegedly, he left on, barefooted. So that's the problem. And that's where I'm getting antsy at, because it's like, are they treating this as a runaway? If they're treating it as a runaway, then anything that, if there was something done criminally, then they are off the hook until they start looking that way.
Okay. I know where you're going, but I believe at this time they're not treating it as strictly a runaway. Okay. Do they have to come out and say that they think something criminal happened? I don't think they would have to, nor would they want to. I don't think they're still going with the runaway theory is what I'm trying to say. At all.
I mean, there's so many questions left out on the table. Those clothes, were they accounted for? I appreciate you, Kevin, man. Thank you for picking up and, giving us a little bit of law enforcement perspective here this afternoon. I appreciate you, brother.
Okay. You're very welcome, and I will talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. God bless you. I'll talk to you very soon. Thank you.
You too.
Shout out. I appreciate him calling in. If you want to call in, it's 219-885-9693. The lines are open for everybody now. So you said this is not a runaway. This was a planned crime. I think it was a planned crime. 715, you're live. Talk to us.
Hey, okay, so I don't know if it's been spoken about, we heard where Chris had said that, or I guess it was Nina's interview where it was spoke about that Chris had called her the day that Sebastian went missing. So, I just had kind of like, I don't know, I went back and was listening to the interviews and different things like that and was trying to come up with some kind of idea about maybe what could happen. But I did hear them say something about, Sebastian's always kind of FaceTimed with Faith and everything. And we have heard all the kind of allegations. I don't know if it was proven or if Seth had said it. I do know that about the essay. Right. And then I know that Chris was saying that he wasn't allowed to be around Faith. So was it possible that maybe that night, he was talking to her and something, transpired in that conversation that when, I don't know, whatever happened, Sebastian leaving, that he probably called Nina to find out if Faith maybe said anything, what maybe transpired in a conversation that they possibly had that night. I don't know. It was just something that struck me, and I was like, because I really do believe that he didn't leave that house, on his own. I mean, he just didn't walk out of that house. So, and with their military background, people, we're not dumb. There's things that in the military they teach you and different things like that. And I just really believe that, if something did happen and he's unalived or whatever, it could be that when she left out that morning going to search for him, or supposedly maybe she did, transfer him to someone else, to take care of this situation until Chris could get back into town, which I thought was kind of odd because it took him 7 hours to get into town after hearing that Sebastian was missing, These are the things that's really kind of got my mind going here, because why did it take him 7 hours from the time he made the call into the sheriff's department
confirmed, but if you
7 hours?
Right.
And then Seth even said that when he got there, his mom was already there at the house. Chris's mom was already there at the house.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Everybody keeps bringing that up.
Yeah, it's just really, it just makes, and the only other thing that I really had thought about too is just say, if she didn't unalive him and all this stuff, then, maybe it was planned that they put him in a facility somewhere. Cause I did hear some people talking about, I don't know what it is, in Tennessee or what states. You don't have to have like a name of a patient, but just say that it's an autistic school that they were putting Sebastian in to get him the help, because I feel like they didn't think that Seth could take care of him, even though he was, going to Seth's house come summer, and all this stuff. Just from what I'm gathering from all of the interviews and everything that I'm hearing, I don't think that they felt like that Seth was able to really take care of Sebastian, in their thinking. And possibly Chris's mom knew of a facility, and that they didn't think this was going to be nationwide coverage, so, I think that they thought that it would just go by the wayside, and now they have to play along with this. Oh, he's missing, he went away on his own or whatever. He ran
and he's
off.
not, you're thinking.
Oh, I know he's not. No, I think that it's either one or two things, like I was saying. Either something bad happened and, they had to, do the transfer of whatever condition Sebastian was in, or they found a facility that they placed him in, and that's why I was really thinking that it was in Alaska, but I don't know. They would have had to go through Canada. So just say that Sebastian was in there. I don't know what their customs is going into Canada, if they search your entire vehicle, you know what I mean? I don't know what the customs are going into Canada, but in order to go to Canada to, get to Washington, I'm not really sure on how any of that, how he would have been able to escape customs. I don't know. If they didn't check their vehicles or whatever, then, it's possible that they did. It's just, it is my theory, and so I just was kind of curious to see if anybody else had even possibly thought. But I do believe that they had to get rid of Sebastian in case Chris got his daughter. You know what I mean? Because where Chris didn't want Faith around Sebastian, something has to give here, and if she didn't do anything to Sebastian, or they didn't do anything to Sebastian, then I really do believe that he's in a facility somewhere, because just from their not searching, their the way that they carry themselves, and it's rehearsed. You can tell that from all the interviews that I've seen them do. It's rehearsed, their interviews, but it just really goes to show you that something, the math is not mathing. She was the last person to see him alive, and home, if he made it home. But I'm just assuming that he did. But at the same time, who's to say that his sister didn't take him that night, hold him until they went on their excursion to Alaska? But you would think that Ellie would have searched those places, but I don't know how much information that they're allowed to obtain from another state. You know what I mean? I don't know the laws on that, but if anybody in the chat does, it would be good to know if there's other autistic schools or any.
There's 100% no way he is in a facility. That's kind of what I was thinking. I'd be blown away, Jasmine, at this point if it came out the next couple days or 60 days or whatever, right? He was in a facility. I'd just be blown away, because then you got to think about all the expenses, time, and money that people have been putting into this case, whether they're searching or, there's been a lot of.
Right, I get that. I get that too. I do understand where you're going with that, but it was just something that came to my mind because of all of the, the talking. But at the same time, I still stick by what I had said in the very beginning when I first heard this case, because we had just gotten done with the, I was really involved with the Audrey Cunningham case, and then Sebastian's case blew up, and then so did Riley about that same time, and then Caleb's. So I've been was going around doing this and this and this, but then, like I said, it's just, here it is 60 days in, and we're still with nothing, and they didn't use luminol in their home or whatever. That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
especially after all of the other cases that we've seen.
Well, again, if there's nothing, no sign of a crime or anything out of place to them, they won't treat it as such. Especially if it's caught in like he ran away damn near. I've heard a thud, but I didn't go check, and I don't know. Look, it just doesn't make sense. And I see a lot of people moving on from this case, and it's actually upsetting when you see that, because is his voice going to fade to the back, or is there going to be some answers? I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for allowing me to just kind of share some thoughts. I don't know. I'm just really,
anytime.
We hope that he is found, or there's a break in the case with all of the PIs on board. I'm hoping that something comes forward.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. And thank you for calling in and being a voice here
today. Sir. You have a blessed day.
You too. God bless you. Lock your doors. Shout out to her. Good phone call. 219-885-9693. We'll keep taking calls. This is crazy. No answers for nothing. Allegedly, they passed a lot of detector. I'll keep this 6-minute timer on point for because I know a lot of people are trying to get through. 586, you're in the mix. Talk to me.
Hi, T-REV. This is Justine from Michigan.
Glad to have you, Jeff. Michigan. I mean, what's your thoughts here today? 53 days, no sign of this boy, no proof of life, no video, no anything.
I have to tell you,
after testing word, we want to find Sebastian.
You're right. I'll tell you, after watching yesterday, my heart has sunk so deep. I just, you're the only one I've been watching. Not saying that I don't look to see if someone else has something earlier on during the day, but you nailed it. Hardly anyone is talking about Sebastian yesterday and today. I don't understand it. It's like a switch has flipped.
Yeah.
And, it's all about this woman in Boston, and, I don't know what is going on. I really, really think we need a lot of prayer, T-REV.
Yeah.
Every day. Seth needs, yeah.
I mean, even Seth wrote me a prayer today. He wrote a prayer. I was like, "Is there anything you'd want me to share?" And he shared a prayer with me.
So how is he doing? Because he's been pretty quiet.
Because I asked him, I said, "Is there anything you would like me to share with the people on day 53?" And he said, "Every day that Sebastian is gone from our sight is another day to become closer to God. When God believes we have truly come close enough to him, then he will grant us the truth and deliver us from the evils and corruption that surrounds us. May his grace be found and envelope us with the shining glory that is his word. Amen, amen." That's what he shared. And then he shared that on this Saturday, 6 p.m. at Hendersonville High School, or Beach High School in Hendersonville, Tennessee. They'll be holding the prayer visual for him. So,
oh, really?
Yes.
Because I have found it kind of odd that none of his classmates, were they at the other visual, any of his schoolmates?
That's a great question that I don't know. I've never asked that. Were any of his schoolmates at the visual? I'm sure maybe some of them were, but I don't know that.
Yeah.
Seth did tell us about people, waiting for him to come back and stuff like that. I remember him talking, about that with us.
Yeah, yeah.
The kids are excited and can't wait for him to come back. And I remember him talking about that.
Okay. Well, T-REV, please don't take your foot off the gas. I know it's got to be so exhausting, but I'm sure I speak for most of us in chat and those of us that just watch. I'm Pebble 7 in chat, by the way. But we're all here for you, and we support staff, and we just want this boy found. And please don't let your foot off the gas. I know it's got to be exhausting, but you're basically, I think, and one other are the only ones with your foot on the gas. You more so than the other person, but we can't let this turn into a Summer's Well
Yeah, yeah, we don't want it to turn into a Summerwell situation
Oh,
where
it just gave me goosebumps. Yeah, this can't go on. This is terrible, terrible, terrible. I don't want to take up much of your time.
yeah, you're good.
I appreciate you. We all do. Peace, love, and light to you. I hope you're feeling better. I hope your dad's feeling better. And yeah, that's all I got. My heart is sunk.
Well, thank you
since yesterday.
Well, I appreciate you calling in and being a voice here today. Still for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, I appreciate you. God bless you. Stay vigilant and lock your doors. Sure, I appreciate her. Nice words too. I'll try to get Burton on. I seen that 219-885-9693. She didn't want to take up the 6 minutes. Okay, that's fine. God bless her. Most missing children get 1% of this type of coverage. Sadly, that true. 404, you're in the door. Talk to her.
Hey T, it's me, Tiffany from Georgia.
Tiffany from Georgia. How you doing today?
How are you?
I've had better days, but we're moving.
I can tell by your voice you're frustrated. I think we all are frustrated. I wanted to ask you a quick question real quick. There was an interview with the PI and said I guess, we got to go by what she says because, Seth hired her. I don't know if you watched that interview with her or not, but
no, I didn't actually.
Well, it's a really good one, and if it's not been watched,
if you send that in, we'll watch it here. If we can, if it's available for us to watch here, we will definitely. I'll put it on.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of information in there that when I watched it, I was like, you know what, T-REV would really want to know this. Let me get it pulled up if you give me a second.
Interesting.
I went to share it on the page. You know what? I'm gonna look for it when I get off of when I get off of here, when my time's up and I get off. I'll send it over in chat. Maybe one of the mods can help me pull this up. But anyway, she was interviewed.
Just send it by email. It's fine too.
Okay. So basically, what she had said in there that was baffling her was basically that they had gotten, and she even confirmed this with Seth. They basically have video of Sebastian taking the trash out, going back into the house, and his lights coming on in his bedroom and coming back off. She said what is baffling her is that with all this footage of him going out and going back in, there is no other footage of him ever leaving the house that night. So, and she also basically put the facts out there that her work vehicle has not been combed through by law enforcement. The other vehicles have, but that work van that's sitting outside, or work vehicle that's sitting outside in the driveway, was not checked by law enforcement.
So they seen video.
It's really good.
They seen video of him. Now, I gotta see this PI. Now that you're talking about it.
It's actually, there was a lot of information that came out because, it's the one that Seth had, hired. So it's an actual really good video. I figured you had seen it. It's been all over the place. I figured you'd have saw it already.
No, I didn't.
I don't know.
I didn't. I did not see it.
So it goes back to the situation that if they've got video of him going out and taking out the trash, and it shows him going back into the house, and it shows the light coming on in his bedroom, and then it shows it going back off. But they don't have anything else showing that he left the house. So that goes back to the original thing. Like, how would he have left the house without being seen? That would go back to going through the garage into Katie's car. And then, when she left to go up, allegedly look for him that morning while she was on the phone with Chris. You don't want to, state that, but when after you watch that, it makes you kind of think, if you have video of him going out the trash can, why don't you have video if he left the house? You know what I mean?
I actually have that. I have the exact video you were talking about sitting right here in front of me.
Okay. Well, it was a pretty good. I mean, it was like a 45-minute segment thing that they had done on another.
Yeah, I can see it right here.
And so it's really good to watch. Also, my thing is if they actually have that video of him coming out and doing the trash, my question is, if he came out and dumped the trash, could they tell if he had shoes on? Because if he didn't have shoes, if he had shoes on just taking the trash out, then he wouldn't have left without shoes on his feet. You get what I'm saying? That's just another question. But my gut has told me this, and I've said it the last 2 times I've called in. I cannot stress enough about this construction company and the landfill being close to it.
That's you saying
I'm
that.
sorry, T.
That's you saying that. I can't stop screaming. The construction company. I seen that.
Yeah, and I know it's like I spend a lot of, $1.99 myself to death. I'm supporting you though, T. I'm supporting you, and I'm just like, because some people don't agree with what I say. Some people don't like when I come on, but I've looked at a lot of things, and the construction company and the landfill, to me, it just doesn't sit right with me. So, especially if Chris was employed by this construction company, and that's his alibi, and his mom worked for the construction. I mean, who's better to give you an alibi than your family business?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I mean,
no, that's a good point. It's a good point.
Like, I run a cleaning business, and my husband, he runs an auto mechanic shop. You know what I'm saying? And, are we supposed to be alibis for each other? Like, I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it doesn't sit right with me. Of course, somebody's going to say that. It's his mom, or who is in charge of the time cards, like, or the time stuff. I mean, we're looking at alibis. Okay, well, anybody can have an alibi, but what's really going on with that? If you're working for your own family business. So
you're saying she dropped, are you saying that she dropped some info that you weren't aware of?
Yes, there was a lot of stuff that was brought out, and that was it wasn't a lot of information, but there's questions that you ask, and I follow you a lot. I'm on your streams every day, and there's a lot of callers that come in that have these questions, and some of these questions were brought out. Yes, not a lot of information, but there was some good information in there, and I think it really needs to be watched because it kind of, I don't know why it hasn't been turned over to a criminal investigation. And also, I have a big question at the beginning of that interview.
Is that the reason they checked the landfill, huh? MJ said that is the reason they checked that landfill. Why? Because he was seen taking the trash out.
Okay, so this is what people have to understand. There's 2 different landfills. The landfill that they checked in Kentucky was the landfill that came from the construction that was in the back of the neighborhood. That was the landfill they checked was in Kentucky. The other landfill is over there by that second generation construction company that's in Sumter County. That is for the residential trash in that neighborhood. Now, I got thrown out, I got thrown out over the bus, man. But when I was on here last time, well, you don't know if they checked that or not. No, I don't know if they checked that, but it has not been confirmed that it was checked. You know what I'm saying? The one that's over there by that, because I don't know if it's been checked. None of us know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. There's a lot that we don't know, but in this, people keep hitting me up about the Uvalde Foundation. Seth said he never talked to them. So I don't know what they're reporting some stuff like they have close to the vest information, and it's like, what information are they getting that we haven't heard?
Yeah, there's some stuff that's going out right now that's saying that they're not credible, and I don't know about it. I can't speak about that. I don't know. There's a lot of information going out there that something about scamming and this, that, and another, but I don't know if that's true or not. The biggest thing, what is true is we're in 53 days.
Yep.
We're 53 days, and we do not have Sebastian.
Well,
that's the fact.
That is the facts, and there hasn't been no sign of. I'm about to play a little bit of this interview. See what we could. I want to see what information you're talking about now.
And also, I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to keep you no longer. Also, guaranteed at this visual, watch. Bet you Chris and Katie will be there.
You think so?
How much you want to bet? Oh, yeah, because that interview she did the other day, she didn't have Chris. She didn't have him in there. He wasn't speaking for her. They are playing damage control because at the end of the day, whoever has done something with Sebastian, they never thought in a million years that he would have the army that he has behind him. Never did they think this was ever going to get this big. And if Chris and Katie had something to do with this, they don't know how to act. He may not have been important to somebody, but he's important to all of us. And we're going to continue to fight. And thank you, T, for continuing to put this baby's face out there, because he deserves justice. No matter what it is, he deserves it. And they just did not know how much we were going to support him. Nobody, I don't think they didn't expect it to blow up like it did. But yes, check out that interview.
Yep, I appreciate you. I hope you have a blessed day. And yeah, we're gonna stay covering it, but it's again, I see a lot of people fading back off of it. So it's like, dang, people are no new information, no this, no that. Was it gonna die down like Summer Wells did?
No, don't say that though.
It is. We don't want it to. That but I got faith. I'm praying. We'll see what it turns out. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you, and thank you for letting me know about this PI interview. I didn't see it. God bless you. Lock your doors. Hold up 1 second. This is it right here. This is Surviving the Survivor. Okay. Surviving the Survivor on YouTube. Make sure you guys go over there, subscribe to the channel. I've never heard of them. But here they have the PI. New private investigator joins. Do you guys want to check this out? See what new information in here is being talked about. I didn't hear the new information. So a pathological liar can pass a polygraph. I seen a YouTube post of CP and KP community trash goes to Nashville, Tennessee landfill. People were talking about check the landfill by the construction site. Yes. All right, let's check it out.
Investigate every lead that comes in during this ongoing search for missing teen Sebastian Rogers. Obviously, it is an onerous one, to say the least. There's some contradictory statements. Sumner County is saying there's no evidence to support foul play, yet they have not ruled out foul play. So we will ask our guest about that. And right on cue here, we've got Rob D'Amico, a fellow Jerseyan from the great state of New Jersey, but also now living in the Sunshine State. A lot of us migrate south. But Rob D'Amico, who is a first-time best guest, and very glad to have him. He has served his country for 39 years over the course of a unique hybrid career in law enforcement and military service, covering counterterrorism and cybersecurity. Rob has worked tirelessly to help keep America safe. Rob joined the FBI as a special agent and was quickly assigned to infiltrate an organized crime family as an undercover agent. Rob was living amongst and working with mafia members up and down the East Coast. And he now has his own.
That's interesting.
Company. Rob, I don't know that I have it right in front of me here. I know I saw it say, what is the name of the company?
Hold on, let's get up to the
Sierra One Consulting.
Yeah, Sierra One Consulting. I knew it was on the tip of my tongue. And Rob does a lot of appearances in media and on media for CNN.
You said it'll make you rethink this case. Well, we're locked in.
Fox, MSNBC, and on it goes. Heather Cohen is set to join us, so she will likely be here. She's the host of Justice Warriors podcast and was featured on the Discovery ID show Secrets, Lies, and Private Eyes. And person who works alongside her at Justice Warriors is Tracy Ellis. How are you, Tracy?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. Do we know if Heather is planning on jumping on?
You should jump in any moment.
Okay, so it's coming up.
She was out work statement analysis.
Let's scoot it up.
So let's just kick things off. Rob D'Amico, our first.
So that's a licensed private investigator. Okay, this is where we want to get to. My bad. I just wanted to hear what they were talking about first.
So let's just kick things off. Rob D'Amico, our first time guest here. Rob,
I didn't see it.
7 weeks, a missing child with autism here. It doesn't smell good at this point, and obviously time is the enemy. What do you make of this case from a macro perspective so far?
Well, from the macro perspective, you look at you always have to, when the case starts, go with all the possibilities, because you don't want to rule one out and then close your eyes to it, and that's the dangerous part of some of these. So you want to look at if he really did just walk out of his in bare feet. How far would he go? How would he get to a place, and all those things? And then you look at was he lured out via online stuff, and you start going down that road.
Yeah, now we talked about that here. We've talked about, was he lured out via online stuff? But if they go through all the devices, I mean,
road. And then you look at the one that always usually turns out to be one of the most likely ones, is someone involved that knows them, and a lot of times it's domestic. So you go down those roads, and when you look at it now, how far can a 15-year-old walk in bare feet? That you're not getting any, and they did the right things in the beginning. They had all the searches out, they had the canines, they had all those things that you would think lead to something. But you're also looking then at all his online stuff, his phone, his video games, all his communications.
Correct.
And if you're still not finding anything that's leading you down to that road that someone lured him out, that he was communicating with someone, and then you start looking at all the other things, naturally, how you track. I've been to a ton of man tracking courses as a sniper. There's ways to really look at finding a person that is just not trying to evade you, that's walking out there. But then you start looking at, like I started watching all the videos today and all the inconsistencies of people that he was involved with that are saying things. And the stories that they laid out are somewhat provable. If she said that they were at BJ's has cameras, and you can start looking at cell phone data, even on the commercial ID side of where they were during that day, and you start matching up where in that story do things start leading.
I feel like police already been through that. They've already went. They got the footage from Texas Roadhouse. Remember, they showed Seth that. Seth told us that. I'm a smoker, but the PI vaping throughout is annoying some reason to me. Thank you. We want to see and talk about this video. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm playing it. And again, to think very early on, you say you're at these places, they, like he just said, they probably checked all the footage, because they showed Seth the Texas Roadhouse footage.
Like, from what they're not saying. But then you start looking at the commentary that he's saying, and he's getting caught up in lies from one interview to another.
I see.
And you have to start like wondering, okay, why is he lying? Why is he saying one thing to one person and something else to, say, Nancy Grace or some of these other folks?
You're talking about Chris Proudfoot, the stepfather.
Yeah, the stepfather. So you start looking at that, and we're like, well, like, just because someone's lying doesn't mean they're lying for the reason that you think so, but you have to end up going down that route. And you're still following all the other leads with that. And then you start getting pulled back. You can't put blinders on, but you start going like, why is it not logical that we can't find a 15-year-old boy?
I just seen your email. I just seen your email off the record. You said updates according to the survivor, or according to survivor, or surviving the survivor live on YouTube. You said PI equals what? Private investigator? Yes, we know that. I'm glad you broke it down though. PI equals private investigator. Lights were not flashlights. They were floodlights. Per one of Seth's PIs who spoke with the sheriff today, footage from rain cams of Sebastian coming out and dropping trash into trash bin, going back in-house, and of the lights. You said off the lights going on in his room, and nothing showing him leaving the house. Nothing. Sebastian does know the path to the ice cream shop. He also knows the route to Seth's house. Sebastian's PlayStation and Seth's PlayStation have both been taken by law enforcement. He was allowed to play video games at Dad's. He also played on Switch. One of Seth's PIs in researching SOs in the area. Proudfoots are not in the Memphis area. They are in the Hendersonville area. It is still not confirmed if law enforcement has seen the clothes, has or has not seen the clothes that Sebastian was wearing out to dinner that night. Allegedly, KP was on a three-way call with CP in the sheriff's office, and her phone was muted. One of the PIs received an anonymous tip after being on a podcast the other day. The tipster was not comfortable sharing tip with law enforcement. Seth joined. Okay, you had the whole breakdown. Okay, so that's in order.
That walked out of his house without shoes, that wasn't trying to evade us, that just naturally did that. And then you go into, we find no communications on any of his electronic devices, because by now 7 weeks, you've done all the search warrants on emails, cell phones, video games, and I've done a lot of technical things trying to find kidnapped people, that you can start going down that road and seeing who's communicating with them. And now you start bringing in all the cell data of the stories that were laid out there. I just don't understand the inconsistencies during the interviews. I did undercover and I lied to people for 2 years, and you have to stay on top of it. But these are just really bad. They're talking and they're just not remembering what they're saying, which is great for investigators to be able to start saying, well, you said this to one person. In the Nancy Grace,
you asking when was this show? 1 day ago.
Interview as a police officer, I would have loved it, because a lot of times when you bring them into a police station or you start interviewing them, the whole thing about the informing of the rights and them she just went down every wicket, got both of them into a story.
I'm about to scoot up to where she's talking,
and then we will hear from.
I want to hear her talk.
Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah.
Service.
I want to hear her talk. I want to hear what she says.
Something I can never do is be a sniper. I got shaky hands. I'd never be a sniper. Annie K always with the good questions. I'm going to throw this one over to Heather, and then we will hear from Tracy finally. But Heather, Annie K. By the way, Heather, are you working now in an official capacity on this case?
Nah, you're good. Get her go.
Heather, yeah, I'm sorry.
I have my mic muted because my dog was barking. Yes, I am.
Can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. Well, to be honest, I was wanting to hide, in the shadows for a little bit, but what I understand, I believe that the sheriff gave a statement to Channel 2 today that there have been 2 private investigators hired, and so the cat's out of the bag. Myself and there is another private investigator also has been officially hired, and so yeah.
And are you hired, if I can ask, by Sumner County? Is that who hired you?
No, no, I am hired by the biological father. And again, I didn't want that to be known publicly, but the cat's out of the bag. Everybody knows, so there's really no reason to hide it at this point.
Well, so you're hearing it here for the first time. Heather Cohen's firm, Justice Warriors, now working in an official capacity, hired by Seth Rogers. It just goes to show you the links that Seth Rogers, the father, is going to here. Again, a little funny. If you're not speaking, if you just keep yourselves muted, that would help me, Rob and Tracy. I know it's a little bit of a pain, and then we'll unmute as you go. But Heather, there's a question here from Andy. Is it time to try pinning the mom, Katie Proudfoot, against the father, Chris Proudfoot, with a time-limited bluff about the first one gets the deal kind of thing? Are we at that point yet where you've got to pressure one side or the other?
Well, no, I don't. I'm not at that point. I've only been working this case for 2 days, so I don't know where law enforcement are at with it. But I'm still trying to vet. I'm still trying to figure out who I even, believe should be on the radar, and I'm not at a point.
Yes, Seth hired the PI.
That I'm comfortable publicly saying anything about the Proudfoots.
We're looking at a picture here, obviously, of Sebastian Rogers, missing 15-year-old. If you have tips, 1-800-TBI-FIND, or you just reach out to Heather Cohen through Surviving the Survivor at Gmail, since she's in an official capacity now. This is one photo, and this is another photo that I saw today. This is an Amber Alert. This almost looks like an AI-generated photo, but this is an Amber Alert, one of 2 that I think are still active that may have changed since last week. But last week, I know there was 1 of 2 active in the nation at that point. Tracy, I'm just wondering the same question I asked Rob, just from a very wide perspective, your thoughts on this case about a 15-year-old seemingly just disappearing out of his bedroom 7 weeks ago without shoes. Just remember to unmute yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to remind me of that one. Several thoughts. One is, of course, she mentioned Devin Bond, a case we worked a while back, who was a teenager and went missing, just up and disappeared. Then there's Joe Clyde Daniels, Baby Joe, in this Mid-South, Middle Tennessee. He was an autistic child that disappeared. So you have those 2 cases that kind of buddy up with this case on either side. I try not to get tunnel vision. That's the worst thing you can do, is get tunnel vision if you are looking at
I'm
everything.
guessing the information
And
broke down in this.
if he was out without shoes on, maybe he walked, the camera would have gotten him, but maybe he walked somewhere and someone picked him up, so he wasn't there long without shoes. And his glasses, I'm not quite sure on the glasses if they're missing, or if they found the glasses, or he has the glasses with him, because why would you have the glasses with him if there was something wrong? I'm not sure that I'm still hung up on the glasses and where they are.
Yeah,
Heather,
well, I'm glad you brought that up, because at one point they said that a pair of glasses were found, and then they made it abundantly clear that they were not Sebastian Rogers' glasses. But I think everyone assumed that his glasses are missing or went missing. So that's an interesting question to try to get to the bottom of.
And those glasses ended up not being his. And again, I do see the list that you did send off the record of this whole entire interview broke down with all the information.
COE, this is for you from Charmaine Lilly. Joel, can we add the petition link that Seth has started to get help from the FBI? That you'll find it if you Google it, and we should get that up. Rob, I'm sorry. Did you want to jump in, Rob?
No, I just, she mentioned tunnel vision, and I think that's one of the most important things, because as an investigator, having done like the sniper case, when the profilers came out and gave us a profile, everyone kind of got tunnel vision, and it really closed their eyes to those things. No matter how, I've seen so many cases that you're like, oh, the parents are guilty because they're not talking like you think they should, but everyone goes through different feelings. And then you get tunnel vision and you're not looking for those other things. So I think the most important thing is you have to keep your eyes open wide, so that when a fact or something comes up, that you're willing to go down the right road to follow.
Is that what's going on here? Are people just seeing Katie and Chris as people who are sus because they just are we looking for a reason, or is there a legitimate reason? I mean, if we watch those same interviews, I feel like there is, but at the same time, like he just said, you got to keep your eyes and ears open. You cannot close down anything because nothing has been proven whatsoever. So you cannot lock in on one thing because it could be the opposite. You got to keep that. You got to leave your mind open to every scenario. Remember, it's Team Sebastian at the end of the day. And I can't, line that up any better than that. It's Team Sebastian at the end of the day. At the end of the day, keep your ears and your eyes open.
Even though like he's not making sense and we believe he's lying about something. Again, a lot of times you don't know why they're lying. They might be thinking something else, but that wide aperture of allowing the facts to tell you things and that you go down them that you're not afraid to,
exactly,
I think is one of the most important things on these cases, that you just don't know. Even though it might be really, really hard to believe that a 15-year-old walks away, and like she said, someone could have picked him up. The worst thing that in the world that could happen to this, we would say, is if he wandered out on his own but wasn't communicating with anyone, and then somehow someone picked him up and did something to him, because then you don't have any leads of communication, and he really was not talking to anyone and just walked away. That would be the worst case scenario, but you have to follow all of them.
Lindsay, thank you for this. I'll be honest, there has not been a lot of news, not a lot of movement on this, which is precisely why I'm doing it, because these cases begin to fall out of the media spotlight. And
and you know what? As he's saying that, he's saying, they start to fall out of the media spotlight. Well, guess what? In this case, it's happening right now. It's starting to fall out that spotlight. It's Sebastian, losing that voice again. And somebody made a great point earlier that 1% of children don't even get this type of media attention. So to think it got this type of media attention and there's no answer whatsoever, it's horrible. It's horrible. It got all this media attention for what, 53 days in, no tips, no nothing is out there that we know of anyways. I don't know.
I want people to stay focused on finding Sebastian. Again, it is the 7th week that we're in here. Rob, just back to you on this. Someone brought up an interesting point that I had not seen brought up before, which is he's got a school bus driver, he's got classmates, and there's been no talk at all. I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but let's just say you were the lead investigator. Are you looking at everyone? I mean, are you speaking to the bus driver? Are you speaking to the parents of the classmates?
So how does CP get bite marks from the dog if he wasn't home? I do like that question. How does CP get bite marks from the dog if he wasn't home? It must have been at a time he was home. It's a great question. So I don't know.
You don't know what thing that he said that may give you that he may only have trusted so many people to talk to or said something, and you have to go back to him multiple times, because a lot of times they think they told you, and then they may remember something. It may be something that comes up, and you're looking through all his notebooks in school. Was he doodling something? Was he writing something? Did he say something offhand? And you just have to constantly go over things and fresh set of eyes, have another investigator come in to look at it, because sometimes you get tunnel vision on something and you don't see it the same. So hopefully they're doing that. And that's, when you get into, like, if TBI gets involved or the FBI, you get fresh sets of eyes. You get people that aren't maybe locked into a local thing that's going on, to look at it differently. And you have to just keep pushing that with it. And it's one of those, that
was a damn good question. It was. He said, if CP, how did he get bite marks for the dog if he wasn't home? I think that is a great question. Yes, it is. It is. But did it happen after? That's what we want to know. Did it happen right after that? Was he home after that and the dog did that to him during the search and they were searching? How did that play out? Because they could have been searching for the couple days. You got to remember, he did the interview later on. So we need to play into factor that the dog could have did that to him after. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to come up with an excuse for CP whatsoever. I'm just looking at it from a realistic point of view. Was it the time that he got home and they were searching for Sebastian? Because you do got to remember this. Seth and Chris searched together. Seth and Chris searched together one time. They remember Seth said he was riding with him on the interview that I did with him. So, early on, what did the dog, is that where he got the marks right after? Did it happen the 27th or the 28th or the 29th before they went on to do these interviews on these platforms? Or at least the news that they did the 2 interviews on. I seen one with the hands, and then there was another one where, people kept taking that screenshot of Chris and his arm. So you have that also. So it doesn't look like the dog marks, or doesn't look like dog marks. People sent me what was the dentist thing somebody sent me? I have to pull it back up. I have it on the computer.
Know where that lead's going to come from. I remember when I worked Fugitives on Saturday night when America's Most Wanted was coming on, we hated it because we were running around the city with all these crazy leads, but you never turn that off, because guess what? One of them's going to be the right lead to find something, and you just can't discount it. And if you have investigators that are burned out or something, that's the worst thing you can do. Is you got to give them breaks. You got to have them come back in. You got to have someone look at it in a case like this.
So Rob, you must know our friend Lenny DePaul.
It's hard to see.
He's from Fugitive Manhunters. Good dude out of New
Becky,
York.
though, I'm just going based off of what I'm looking at, right? In totality, you got to think I'm looking at a friggin' picture on news. I can't see this guy's arms to make a legitimate, I see what people are sending in to me, and it looks crazy as hell. I agree to that. But when I'm looking at it, it's like, it's hard for me to tell the wounds, etc. You know what I mean? It's different when you see it in person. That's all for me. So going through a picture that has filters put over it, you could definitely notice that there's some scarring there or some type of, scratch. You could definitely see that. But as far as like how old it was and new it was, it's hard for me to tell through just that little shot where they're sitting down.
Linda Vergata here. This is a great question. Is there any proof that he did not have more than 3 pairs of shoes? How can we be sure? Heather, to you on this one, the information we're getting about the shoes, I believe, is coming from the mom, Katie Proudfoot. So how can we be so sure that at this point that maybe he left with another pair of shoes? I don't know.
I mean, I don't think we really can be sure of that. But I think for me, the biggest mind bender about this whole case is the fact that something that we learned today from the sheriff, which I don't know how much of this has been out publicly, but he talked to us. I sat down with Sheriff Weatherford today at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and he said that they've got footage from ring cams of Sebastian coming out, dropping the trash in the trash bin, going back in. They've got his lights coming on in his room. They've got footage of him going in. There's no footage of him ever coming out. I mean, that's the big mind bender here, is that there's not even any proof that he ever left the house. They have nothing. I mean, nothing.
Yeah, that's amazing right there.
So note that, ladies and gentlemen, she says the PI who sat down with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, note this down. Note exactly what she said down. We're going to run that right on back.
Mind bender here is that there's not.
What did she say? We
trash
got to
bin
play it right back because that's important.
from ring cams of Sebastian coming out, dropping the trash in the trash bin, going back in. They've got his lights coming on in his room. They've got footage of him going in. There's no footage of him ever coming out. I mean, that's the big mind bender here, is that there's not even any proof that he ever left the house.
Footage. Oh my God. So they got footage of him taking it out, but they have no footage of him leaving the house after that. That is scary as hell. No footage whatsoever of Sebastian leaving the house. None. So you see him go in, but you don't see him come back out. Yeah, that's alarming. That's alarming. Ain't it, advocate? I mean, that's some alarming details right there. So again, law enforcement telling Seth, and remember I've asked Seth because I'm like, he told me the footage that he seen was way too grainy. He can't tell it's Sebastian. Police are literally telling this PI that is footage of Sebastian, and that's him going out, and he goes back in, but there's no footage of him coming back out. Isn't that alarming? I'm just saying that shit's alarming as hell.
They have nothing. I mean, nothing.
Yeah, that's amazing right there, because you just don't even know where to begin, which is, I'm going to come back to you on that. Jody Arrington, I seem to remember law enforcement not wanting to comment about the lights.
Alarming.
There was this talk about 2 flashlights on the front lawn. Tracy, I don't know if you recall this, but I think they went back and said, hey, those were really just floodlights from the opposite side of the house. Do you have any information on this, Tracy?
I do, and I got it from this great PI that's working the case. And yes, they were floodlights. They have determined that they were floodlights, not flashlights.
Did you hear that? They determined that they were floodlights, not flashlights. What's your thoughts on that, chat? They confirmed it was floodlights, not flashlights. So there's that. People have been talking about that for a minute. You said this has to be changed to criminal if it hasn't already. Nope, it's not criminal. It's just an open investigation. And I kind of touched up on it here a little bit earlier in the show where I'm like, if they're not investigating it as criminal, then you got to think if something criminal did happen, those criminals are getting away with whatever. Again, that's if there was a thud in the house, but there's no footage of Sebastian leaving the house. Again, that's super alarming. They're saying that they seen him on this camera. They're saying that's him. But what is very alarming is that he's not seen coming out of the house whatsoever. And he had to come out if he's not there. I'm just saying, he had to come out if he's not there. Was there just not cameras in the direction that he went? That's the real question.
And that could change the perspective of the case in some ways, because I think at the point where they thought they were flashlights, they assumed that maybe it was someone possibly even leading Sebastian out, but that is proving not to be the case. This petition is what Amelia is talking about here. I signed that flyer for the FBI to take over on this case that's out that Seth had made for Sebastian. Did you guys see that? It's huge. Rob, would the FBI ever take over a case because the public is petitioning for it? I'm curious what your thought is.
No, it's one of those where the FBI will get more involved on the request of the police.
Hold on, is there flying floodlights, y'all? I'm confused. Aren't floodlights like stationary? I'm just saying, when you look at floodlights, aren't they latched in and stationary? I thought, do floodlights got legs and they just jump off and start the walk and turn? I'm confused. So I guess floodlights got legs now. That's crazy.
If someone could prove for some crazy reason that it wasn't something was going on odd, maybe, but we're not going to take over the case. So those are a bit extreme. We may provide more resources based on what they're asking. If they have a lead, we may send down one of our aircraft that can even look at. We have aircraft that have sensors that can find shallow graves and some other technology that if something comes up, that they'll request it and come down. But we're not going to take the case over. We're going to just work with them.
Rob, let me ask you a question you can't answer. Why is there no shortage of violent crime in this country? Why is it just never, ever end?
Actually, I've been around the world and there's no short of violent crime anywhere. I was just talking to somebody today about this, and I just never am not surprised at the ability of other humans to harm humans. And it's worse in some places. And though this country's not short of it. And it's unbelievable when you start looking at it.
Yeah, it's it does happen elsewhere. It just seems,
So again, Chad, if you're just coming in, I want to give you a little quick update. We are watching an interview that just came out. It's on Surviving the Survivors Live. This was the live stream they did yesterday, I believe. And again, there's new information sprinkled throughout this interview, because this person that you're looking at right here, this lady right here to the left, is Steph's private investigator. And she is on there talking about some information. She said that she sat down with this Sumner County Sheriff's Office, or one of the captains, I believe she said, and she found out some information on the case. She's talking about those things. So I could read this list right here, but it'll just take away from us watching it. So
obviously we're here in the States, but it's got to stop. I guess it's been going on since
seen it already.
My thing is, why don't people understand like this case out of Oklahoma? I mean, these people are going to sit in prison more than likely for the rest of their lives. Why don't people think about those repercussions, Rob?
So many of them think they can get away with it, and like the more TV shows they watch, thinking they watched enough CSI to get rid of bodies or whatever. It's just amazing how stupid. It's amazing how stupid criminals are. I mean, I've seen bank robbers write the demand note on their own deposit slip, and surprised that the police show up, 20 minutes after they get home. And it just gets into a point where people start, especially in groups. I mean, groupthink on things like this. You look at the people in Oklahoma, because I made some comments on that. Again, what were they thinking that it wasn't going to come back to if there's a child dispute, that it's going to come back to them? And do they really think they have the capability to hide a crime scene? You think watching CSI makes you smart enough to do it, but the technology that's coming out that the police can use, that we can bring in, is just unbelievable. But the best part, though, is when you get an investigator who has some scientific evidence against someone who's lying, especially if you're trying to get 4 people to say the same thing. You're going to find the shortcoming in the story. You're going to find a weak one, and then you're going to go after them to tell on others. And it's one of those things I think you really start to have to look at on this case. Okay, if we assume the worst, that it was somehow the mom or the stepdad, what really?
McBooters. I mean, yesterday Jennifer Coffindaffer, ex-FBI, came on. You heard her. You heard what she said. She said that she don't think the FBI will take this case over fully. And that's what the petition is for, but I don't know. We'll see how that works out. Is the petition for nothing? I hope it's not. Hopefully it can make a difference somehow or raise some type of awareness, but is it for nothing? I don't think anything's for nothing at this point, keeping his face out there. So again, it isn't for nothing. We're just giving it a shot.
Transpired to do this. What was it? Something he did that then was an encounter that got too far, or was it something that they had planned further on? For some reason, they wanted to get rid of him. As bad as that sounds. So then you have to look at, he says he was in, was it Memphis? I think he said
Memphis. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. Memphis.
Yeah, in so many ways. Like, did he leave his cell phone in Memphis? Did the vehicle he had that has GPS, was that checked out? Was he really in Memphis? Because in order to appear in Memphis, you have to do a lot of things electronically to do that, that you can also check on. Or was it something that happened with the mom and then he came back and covered it up? What were those things? So you have to start going down, we call red selling that, like really understanding if that was what would happen, then that encounter, they saw, the camera saw him bringing the trash out. They saw his light go on. So they're putting timeline on there so that they can get it down to, okay, if something happened, it happened between this time in that house. And did they actually request to do a search warrant in the house to blacklight it, to do all the other things?
Bing bang.
Well, that kind of goes hand in hand with yesterday's interview with Jennifer. Remember, she said from her source that she heard they searched the house 10 times. Did you hear that yesterday? If you were here, I'm sure that may have stuck in your mind, because it stuck in mine. And I don't have the same belief that Jennifer has in this case whatsoever. I get her biased unbiased standpoint, and I understand that, but 10 times they searched the house. And we asked her, do you think they lit it up with luminol? What'd she say? Yes. So again, did they?
On the police side, to see if a crime was committed in there. I did hear, now the shoes, though, that the biological father said 3 pairs of shoes too. And I don't know if he was those, some kids, I think my wife would be able to tell you exactly what pairs of shoes the kids had when they were little, because she was so involved with them. But I think he actually said, someone had said about furniture, and there was a new bed in the garage or something. Well, why did that happen? Why did you just get this bed that's in the garage? Is it replacing something? start going down those roads to really see if, in fact, something happened. And, scientifically, there's lots of ways to find out, if an item was, had DNA on it and stuff like that. So they really have to start going down. I think now is a time that they really have to start pressing on, well, let us search your house. Let us do some forensic evidence collection in your house if you guys are really innocent. I don't know if that's been done or not. If they asked him, it's the same thing with the polygraph. He said he took one to one person, and he said he didn't. And they say that the police told him he didn't have to. I don't know any cop that would say, hey, you don't have to take a polygraph. Like, I would polygraph everybody, if they're willing to do it. So
that's weird. I like the way he broke that down right there. He was like, what cop is telling you not to take one?
Actually, the stepdad, because even if I proved he was in Memphis, well, then I would ask him if he knew what happened to him, meaning like maybe the mom did it and he's covering up. So that on the polygraph, I'm going to go after him on that. It's not just that he's in Memphis.
Yeah, and Nancy Grace tried cornering him into a polygraph, and he wiggled his way out of that. So, but that's, I guess, going back to the whole tunnel vision issue is, are we just so thirsty to get him? But we'll see how it plays out. This is great. We'll go in the opposite clockwise here with a guest, Nikki Cuds, our friend in the NYC in New York. Do we know? And sure. I know he's high functioning, but Tracy, do we know his verbal communication skills? What level they are at? If he would be able to explain something to someone out in the public?
I didn't hear that.
I do not know 100%. I know that he is. They were saying that he could make his way down to get some ice cream. He knew how to walk that far. He knew the route to take. He knows the route to take to his dad's house. So that tells me he is not at a extremely high IQ level on the majority of things. He has some obviously lower in that range of being able to just. I know plenty of autistic people that live their lives, go to work every day, went to college, like that. I don't think he's that capable.
Okay. Knowing that, I'm sure law enforcement knows that at this point. From Jazz, these are great questions coming in. Heather, I don't know if you know this, you'll probably find this out now that you're actually involved in the case. Have they done a door-to-door search in that community? Now, I do know that the Sumner County Sheriff has asked at one point, I don't know if he still is, for residents in Hendersonville, at least, to check their properties twice a day. But do you know if a door-to-door search was done, Heather?
I'm sure in the immediate area. I don't know that they've expanded out for, door-to-door knocks beyond that. But I do know that they have done 5 mile radius search. They've had the technology, the high technology aircraft that flies over that can see the thermal. The way it was explained to me during the Cummins case, that they were flying 10,000 feet above and they could see him limping through the woods. Well, that is the same technology that they used in a 5 mile radius looking through the woods for Sebastian.
Real quick, before I forget, I'm sorry.
That's interesting.
My friend Kevin Fixler, who is AP Reporter of the Year in Idaho, he's breaking a fairly interesting and big story on Brian Kohberger tomorrow. That will be in the Idaho Statesman, and we're going to have him on tomorrow night with some guests to discuss that. It's a busy week. And then on Thursday, we're getting some new information in the Ellen Greenberg case. I just spoke to, this is the case.
Ellen Greenberg, that case is heartbreaking, man. There's no way she stabbed herself like that. Nope. I wouldn't. I can't buy that. I think kidnap is is a real possibility. CP saying they were told not to search. Seth saying he knows where he is, but doesn't have funds. Law enforcement quiet. Searches stopped. Military breaks connection. Silence. Oh
my God.
Evelyn Art, I appreciate the support to the channel, by the way, but damn. So you think kidnap is a real possibility here? We'll find out.
Case that I wish all these investigators would take up.
Not seen one
back
time.
In, I want to say it was 2011. It was 2011. Ellen Greenberg is engaged to her fiance, a guy named Sam Goldberg. It's a snowy night, and it's a nor'easter coming in. And lo and behold, he says that she was stabbed 20 times. Turns out she stabbed 20 times, 10 of them to the back of her head. 2 were after rigor mortis set in, which means that it happened after she had already died, post-mortem. So a lot of shady things going on there. It's a Philadelphia corruption story. It's been going on way too long. The case has never, ever been investigated, and it's being kicked around the different districts in Pennsylvania, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So her parents are set to join us, and I'm hoping that her attorney, we're trying to do that on Thursday night. From WebFan, Joel, was the game station of Sebastian Rogers retrieved? The account saves his last interaction and whom he was playing with. Heather's nodding her head yes. Now, Heather, I've heard contradictory reports. I heard that he wasn't a gamer. He wasn't allowed to play games. And then some people say he was a gamer.
Here we
shake
go.
Your head yes. What do you know?
He was allowed to play at his father's. His PlayStation and his father's PlayStation were both taken. They have both of them.
Okay, good.
Okay, so they took Seth's PlayStation and they took Sebastian's PlayStation. So the investigators they're definitely investigating something, y'all. Come on now, what are they why would they be taking these items if they weren't investigating? I'm just saying, they're taking PlayStations, they're taking whatever. They're looking down every avenue. If Seth knows where he is, why is he not saying? Yeah, I seen people saying Seth knows where he is. Where's he at? Where's the exact location?
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, obviously, we always hear about
We'll
computers
go by
being seized, but I'm not sure how they will. We can ask Rob about that in a minute. But Heather, back to you. Now that you've made it publicly known that you are working on this case and you were hired by Sebastian Rogers, the biological father, where I asked you this last time, but now it's a real question. Where do you begin here?
Well, so I started with talking, trying to talk to all, the family members, the immediate family members. But where I'm at right now, all day yesterday, all day today, I've been focusing on the sex offenders in the immediate area. I found there's some very interesting facts about that. There is a sex offender, very, very close, who has several sexual or aggravated sexual assault charges, one on a minor under the age of 13.
Can you say, is this within a few blocks, a mile? I mean,
this is within a mile.
Within a mile, okay.
Correct.
So you think you'll start there, looking at some of these people, is that right?
That's where I'm at right now, yes.
Rob D'Amico, back to you on this, and feel free to comment on that. But I'm just curious, you're 7 weeks in and nothing. Do you have to do like a proverbial reset at some point and kind of take a breath and look at everything you have and then kind of try to figure out where to pivot from?
I asked him. I just messaged Seth. I did. You said if Seth knows, Seth would be there without anyone can't stop him. I just messaged him about it. I'm trying to see the context behind it.
I think you do. I would hope maybe TBI has a team to come in to do that, so that the main investigator stays on his leads and stuff, and you have a team to come in, like I said, red cell it to look at it to see if a bias is coming in there. But the sex offender, it reminds me of a story. I don't know if you remember, Jimmy Rice disappeared down in the Redlands south of Miami when I first got an FBI. It was one of the first big cases I worked. And we all kind of pointed, because the parents had gone away and the 17-year-old brother who had some problems, we started looking at that. And it turns out later on it was a sex offender who lived a couple miles away, got very bold and grabbed them between the bus stop 50 yards from the house. And it was one of those that a lot of people were looking at the family because there was no evidence of that grab at all. He got off the bus, was walking, and the person pulled up in a car and grabbed, pointed a gun at him, told him to come in. And it was only I think it was the guy worked on a kind of a farm in the area and was staying in a trailer, and the people that hired him thought some things were missing. So the husband took him to the store, and the wife walked into the trailer looking for the stuff that was stolen and saw Jimmy Rice's.
I'm going to go again. I'm going to go over it. 1 second. I'll pull it right up. Lights were not flashlights. They were floodlights. For one of Seth's the PI here who spoke with the sheriff, which yesterday they spoke with the sheriff. Footage from rain cams of Sebastian coming out and dropping trash into trash bin, going back in, and also going back in the house. The lights that were going on and off in his room, or hold up, what does it say? And one of the lights going on in his room and nothing showing him leaving the house. Again, nothing. Sebastian does know the path to the ice cream shop. He also knows the route to Seth's house. And then again, Sebastian's PlayStation and Seth's PlayStation have both been taken by law enforcement. He was allowed to play video games at Dad's. He also played on a Switch. So one of Seth's PIs in researching, and she just talked about researching the SOs in the area and that there was something interesting about the SOs in the area. So just catching you up on that.
Look back. And that was the key. So, and it was around 7-8 weeks after that happened, but we were focused on the brother. It was, there's some issues there, and the parents were away. So it was one of those that you have to keep running down and you have to keep searching. Leads will follow up, and something doesn't make sense. I think there's enough facts in both the stepdad and the mom's story that you can really start looking at it if in fact they're lying. And if they're lying, then you can start pulling apart things. And then at one point, I think they're going to find one of the lies is more so. Like if something happened with the mom and it happened there, and the stepdad came home and is helping cover it up, you're going to start seeing things, and they're going to start being able to pit one against the other type of thing, figuring out how to do that. But you still have to run down those leads with all the sex offenders and stuff like that. It may be a whole different reason why they're lying and why they're getting caught up in these lies that are silly, because they're telling one person one thing on camera and someone else something totally different. And we all kind of focus on that, but it could be that outside thing that someone came across him. Exactly. It could have been he was outside for some reason. And then that offender, did something. So keeping those eyes open, but I think a red cell team, like you talk about, to come in and put a fresh set of eyes on it to understand, are they looking in the right spot? Is there something they're missing?
Yeah. That's actually the first time. I mean, Heather brought this up about looking for sex offenders, child sex offenders in the area, and I hadn't heard that, but obviously that is a very smart place to start.
When you start looking, it's amazing how many there are. When we looked in Redlands, and this is before apps like Citizen and stuff that tell you where they are, it was like 200 within a 10-mile, and we're like 200. We're like, holy cow! Yeah. Like, are you kidding? And then you start looking at it, and it's amazing how many are out there. They're good and those are the registered ones. And then you may have someone that didn't register.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, Rob, but maybe a month or two ago, right here in Miami Beach on 71st and Collins, some guy charged 74th gifting
scooted up
out of their Tennessee home and moved to Memphis. How does this look to law enforcement? Heather saying no. Tracy's saying no. So where are they now, Tracy?
I'm not going to say where they are.
Okay.
But they are not in Memphis. They are not in the Memphis area.
Are they close to Hendersonville? Are they in Hendersonville? I mean,
yes.
Okay.
In the area, they're in the area of where they were.
But there were reports that they took off. Did that raise your alarm at all, Tracy?
It in some ways, yes, and in other ways, you've got to look at it. These people are being threatened with their lives. It's full on down here. When that local lynch mob gets going, they see it one way. But yeah, I can understand why they moved and needed to get away at that point. And I did want to add too that the TBI comes in on a missing persons case, if I'm correct. However, they must be invited in if it becomes a homicide. Am I correct in that? Shake your head, Heather. I'm pretty. I maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know with cases that one of the cases that in another county in Tennessee, that they were there as soon as there was a missing person. However, they were not invited into the homicide when the body was found, and they were not part of that investigation.
One thing I wanted to ask Rob about, because he's talking about inconsistencies in statements, and I watched that Nancy Grace interview, Rob, with Katie and Chris Proudfoot pretty closely. And
interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Chris Proudfoot, at one point when he's asked about going to Memphis, because I think at one point they did do that, he offered information. I brought this up on the show before, but it's just kind of stuck in my brain. He says to Nancy, well, Nancy, there's no way I could have done it. Something along these lines. It's a 3 hour and 37 minutes door to door. And he said exactly, it was almost like an alibi. It was almost like, hey, I couldn't have done this because look, it's 3 hours. It wasn't 3 hours and 35 minutes. It wasn't 3 hours and 30, it's 3 hours and 37 minutes. Curious if you picked up on that, what you made of it.
If I could show you my notes from that interview, I'm like 3 hours and 37 minutes, not 3.5 hours. Like, did you like it? Again, when you look at people when they're lying and telling stories and making things up, what you remember and such, like the 337 was just one of those things that just caught my attention to do that and to understand that. And it was one of those that I said, someone who's making an alibi thinks that, oh, if I give really good detail, they'll believe me type of thing, because they read that in, one of those books about, undercovering lies and such. But that amount of detail, but then again, he doesn't remember what the son was lying about when he whipped him with the belt, but he remembers the 337. So it goes in and out. They remember certain things when they want to, and they don't remember certain things when they don't want to. But it was definitely one of those, it caught my attention. And I said, someone who's like laying that alibi out thinks if I give them a lot of detail, they're going to believe me. So 3 hours and 37 minutes caught my attention right off the bat. I wrote it down saying, okay, that's a bit much for me to understand that excuse. I mean, that alibi building thing. But it, again, you go into what was, there's so many ways to be able to check certain things like license plate readers and toll things and all these other stuff and phones. If he had his phone, I can start looking at the cell tower hits on that phone because I would assume he would be talking to his wife as he's hurrying home. Like, did you find anything? Did you find anything? But also in that interview, he did say he was going back to Memphis for work. And it was a really odd, like, he didn't explain it well. He's like, yeah, I got to get back to work. And then then Nancy followed up, well, are you going? And she goes, and the wife, the wife says, yes, but not for work. I'm just going to join him. Like, from all the people I've seen on missing people, they're so afraid to even turn the porch light off, let alone leave the house, thinking for whatever reason that they need to be there. And they kind of casually say, oh yeah, we're going for his work. But I did think of the threats there, because I do know it's like, I've seen people want to move out of the house just because of all the media attention and the threats back to the family. And I can see that too. But the reason they gave was not that at all. And it was early on. I don't know when Nancy Grace's interview was, but she hit on it. Like, you're leaving the house, you're not worried about it. Like, and then the excuse was very, very bland and vague.
Yeah. Right. Well, Rob, at one point, and I'll get back to the other two in a moment. I appreciate everyone being patient. But at one point, Rob, they did leave. I mean, that is for sure. They took off. If I have 3 children, if one of them went missing, I just know how I would react. I would never leave. I'd be at the front, steps of my house. I mean, what did you make of that? Because the previous question was, would that raise the antennae
Think so, Jason?
law enforcement?
Why do you say that, Jason? You said Seth needs a new PI. Get this lady out of here. What's going on? What's your thoughts on that?
It would. Again, I have 4 kids, and my God, if anything happened, and then I don't even want to say what their mom would do, because that would be even. Like, it's one of those mother instinctual things and parents that you would just never, I don't think, want to leave the house. But with the blinders on, that's how I would react. And that's how certain people would react. That you can't really say, well, that indicates that they did it. You still have to keep those eyes open, even though it's heightening. It's a yellow flag, because everyone thinks, oh, everyone should react with us. And I've seen other things happen where people don't react the same way you think. And you're like, oh, they're guilty because they're not doing what I would do. And as a seasoned investigator, you really learn to put that down, say, it's a yellow flag. It's definitely not right. I need to check this, but not saying, oh, they're guilty. And then you focus totally on it.
So many ways this investigation could still go. Shoshana here. Love that name, by the way. Heather, were Sebastian's clothes that he wore to, I think it was BJ's, found at the home? Do we know?
I actually saw that question, and I texted the other PI because she's worked it longer and I wasn't sure that question or the answer to that question. She said that we have not received confirmation of that Seth has asked law enforcement and they have not confirmed to him.
Appreciate you, man.
And then there's this question from
You
Kelly.
say Chris lied about taking and passing a poly before. Why wouldn't he lie again? Sorry, not sorry. I do not believe anything Chris says. Thank you for supporting the channel, by the way. Misty. It's been reported. Now, Burton Staggs, has said a source with knowledge tells me that Chris Proudfoot passed his polygraph today with the TBI. I don't know who the source is, like that, the person who told him that, but it must be someone reliable.
Jay, did you find it odd that Katie calls him and he calls the sheriff, not 911, and not the mother calling 911? Heather, that is curious, right?
It's interesting. And what I've been told about that was that she was supposedly on 3-way during that call, but she was muted.
It's always an answer, I guess. Rob D'Amico shaking his head. Tracy, I know you work with Heather, from what I understand. So now that you guys are officially kind of helping out here, what is your role going to be? Do you know?
Listen, okay, yes, Seth did answer me. He just answered me, and I was getting concerned with some of the messages that you guys were writing in chat. Seth knowing where he's at. He said, "What the fuck? I have no idea. I wish I knew where he was. Nothing would stop me from going to get him or getting him." So, I mean, that was Seth's immediate response just now. Literally, like, what are people saying that he know where he is? He said if he knew where he was, nobody would stop him from going. So I never got an Amber Alert in Florida about Sebastian, just saying he could be anywhere, Sandra says. I didn't get one either where I'm at. So how did the perpetrator not make one mistake? Exactly, Remy's. Come on now. If all that same DNA is in that house, nothing exactly. They didn't. Somebody slips up and makes a mistake somewhere. And there's no footage of him leaving this house. That's the problem. Again, if you listen back to what this PI said before, there's no inkling of a clue to this boy leaving the house, but that does show him coming out and taking the trash to a bin and going back in the house. So you have footage of that, but you have no footage of him leaving the house again. I don't get how it's not criminal. How's it not criminal at that point? I got complete heck. You said I got complete heck when I posted that last video from the Texas Roadhouse should be shown to the public. Shows what he was wearing and her. But he did say that he doesn't have the resources to get him out of his own mouth. Where was that said at? You might have to refresh me on where it was said at. Victoria says exactly Seth would have gotten him. Chihuahua Mama says I wish everyone would leave Seth alone. Right. I mean, if he knew where he was, he'd be on it. I have found out that there is no national Amber Alert. T-REV, was that something UCN said? Not Seth. Okay, I got you.
Today.
So the UCN said.
Well, I'm Heather's backup. Whatever she needs, I do it. I get it done, or I find a way to get it done. That way she can keep out there and ground pounding, going door to door and finding out what she needs to do.
And I want to get back to kind of a day in the life of you guys in just a moment. But Rob D'Amico, so Sumner County Sheriff and the TBI basically say, look, there's no foul play involved, but at the same time, in the same breath, saying foul play has not been ruled out, that no one's been cleared. So what would it take here? And I asked this last time, but what would it take to open a criminal investigation? They need some sort of hard evidence, right? Blood evidence, something along those lines.
I call that the no evidence of foul play, the Atlanta bombing thing with law enforcement, where
exactly
Richard Jewell, the whole thing, and they got sued and stuff like that for saying he was a target, and so I think law enforcement is very, very conscious of saying that, and I think some of this they can do a lot of things without a quote upfront criminal investigation. I hope they got voluntary search warrants and everything else like that. That's, again, I would just ask, can we come in and search your house?
Mm-hmm.
And if they say no, I would have real, even though the Fifth Amendment stuff, I have issues, because if it was my kid, again, I'm rational. I'd say, come in and search my house. Everything you need, I will give you.
Allegedly,
and if they don't, I would think there's something to that. So hopefully,
those questions already been asked, Kathleen. Allegedly, he took a polygraph. Allegedly, again, you're only going to know what you hear. Does that mean he did? I mean, he's already said on Facebook, and people continue to point that out. He did say on Facebook early on that they both took polygraphs, and yes, they passed them, but at that point he didn't. Allegedly. We've all seen the same screenshot floating around. I know we have. All of us have.
They still have a mechanism to get search warrants or electronics or emails and all these other things that you need to start doing down. Hopefully they're getting the electronic data from the cell towers and such, because sometimes you don't need that in a case where, Quarles exception, where it's public safety, you're looking for someone that's trying to still be alive, and you can do certain things without a criminal case. But hopefully they have some mechanism to do those. If they don't, then they really do need to open some type of inquiry or something, an assessment, to get them those powers of law enforcement to be able to look for certain information.
Robin E. Hunter, amen, amen. Heather's on the case, sending so much love and strength to find this young man, Sebastian Rogers. So, Heather, walk me, if you can, without giving away critical information, but what is a day for you like going to be, let's say tomorrow? What do you do? Are you going out into the community? Are you working on a computer? I'm just curious the process here.
It's being out there, and it's so fly by the seat of your pants. I can't, one thing may send you in this direction, in that direction. I really couldn't tell you. I've been, like I said, looking into the sex offenders. I've been, of course, by the house, all that stuff. Just talking to people, talking to neighbors, talking to the neighbors of the sex offenders, just trying to find somebody that's seen something. And I want to tell you, too, this is interesting. After the last time, a few days ago, when I was on your podcast, I received an anonymous tip, which has also been something that I'm following up on. And So, you know, that's, I really appreciate it. Somebody that follows your podcast and decided to trust me with information they were afraid to go to law enforcement with.
Wow.
That warms my heart. That's why we're doing these shows. Hopefully
Wow.
it'll bring some light. And here it is. You can send tips
Did
to
you hear that?
survivor at Gmail if you want, and I'll send them on to Heather. But obviously the best way to do it is 1-800-TBI-FIND. You can call 1-800-TBI-FIND. And that's why, again, for full transparency, not a lot of new news here. But I said I want to stay on this case. This could be anyone's child, and he needs to be found. Tracy, I'm wondering, you're sort of local, I think, to the area. What the media attention has been like there. Is it dying down, or is it still making the news every night?
I'm actually in northern Mississippi, not far from Memphis, and Heather's actually in the area. But yeah, when they get there, the lynch mob get going. I mean, they just keep each other going until it gets out of hand, and that's why. And have the real facts and how it's done, and you just can't jump on the bandwagon. You have to find out.
All right, I'm open.
It's not dying down. It just is. Maybe the search part of it is dying down, but not the talk and the.
I see you,
the
Summer.
interest is not dying down.
Yeah, and that was my next question. Heather, do we know? I mean, there were large search parties going out. Is that still happening?
2 members.
There are still searches. But I did make a phone call.
Dang, as soon as I turned it off. 423, what's going on? You're live.
What's up, T-REV?
What's going on there, Doug? How you doing? Doug from Tennessee.
Man, it's hard to get in touch with you, brother. You got too many callers.
Nah, I had it on. I mean, I had it on Do Not Disturb just now, but yeah, I get it though. You mean when the lines are open, it's hard to get through?
Yeah.
What's going
on? My wife sent you a message through Cornbread.
You sent me a message?
Yeah, on email through Cornbread.
Okay. I didn't see it. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let me look up here. Damn, there's a lot of emails. What does it say? Talk to me.
It says my Doug from Tennessee and my phone number.
I got you.
But
I see it. It's way down here.
Yeah, that's my number, man. If you ever need to talk, give me a call sometimes, brother.
Yes, sir. What's going on? Talk to us today, man.
I believe, like that woman saying, man, some sex offenders got that little boy.
Oh, so you think a sex offender has the little boy? You kind of were touching up on that last time.
Yep. And they're in that neighborhood.
She said there was one, I think, less than a mile.
Yeah, more than that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's just my feeling. And they more than that. And that's a big neighborhood, dude. They got too many cameras out there.
So you thinking that thud was somebody? Yeah, but listen, though. This is the part that I'm having trouble with. Let's say a sex offender did get him, but what way would he get him if there's, if you're coming in or taking him out the house? He's already seen on video taking the trash out. There's no video of him exiting the location.
He befriended this boy. He befriended that little boy. And he snuck out to see him and he took him. And just like they said that mama heard the thug in her bedroom and didn't go check it. Dude, have you seen her house? Her bedroom's way down here on this end, his way up here on this end. There's no possible way that she heard a thug. It's too big of a house. But I'm just saying, I believe the sex offender befriended him. And the noise that she heard was him sneaking out the side door to meet that guy, and he took him.
Ah, damn.
It'd be just like I lost my dog, you know what I'm saying? And you're in the car and gone in 5 minutes and you never see him. I'm just saying, dude, there's some wild people out here in this world.
I mean, either way, the way that the PI just said that to us, giving us the information that he was seen going outside and going back in, he's not seen leaving the house. I mean, how is it not criminal at that point?
Because he snuck out.
Did he sneak out and go a path there was no cameras? You know what I mean?
Probably behind his house and met the dude could live next door to him, man. They could live right next. You know what I'm saying? Behind him, next door, beside him.
Yeah.
And they get him and lock him in the dang basement somewhere. You're not going to hear him.
That's crazy.
But I don't think Mama heard no thug in there because the house is too big.
It's two people.
I believe somebody befriended that young man.
Right.
And he snuck out the meeting and he took him.
That's crazy.
And when they find him, if they find him, he'll be his body will not be presumed dead for a long time. If they find him, it'll happen in just a few days because the dude's fixing to get caught. And the private investigator might find him.
Interesting. Two people to load the trash. Why would they search this landfill though? Because if they seen him going to take that trash out, why would they go to search a landfill? Or is it just they have no idea?
They don't have no idea. She don't have no idea. He don't have no idea. But the dude, that little boy, met somebody either online.
Yeah, but they would find that through his device or something like that. They'd find it through a device, I think.
What if it's his next door neighbor? But two houses down.
Are you thinking like maybe somebody he talked to without that, or?
Yeah, without that. This outside met somebody. The dog run over there. They talked to him. They befriended him. And then they took him. It could be two houses down.
Yeah, I get
it. Could be the next door neighbor, you know. That's why they want to run everybody out of that neighborhood.
It's crazy, man.
But I hope they find the little fella and prosecute whoever does it. And don't let them out on recognizance. Let them go.
53 days. 53 days, Doug. No sign of any crime.
Yep. And he could be hit. He could be put in the basement for 500 days, and we'd never know. Look at that one little girl down there. That guy kidnapped, had kids with her and everything. J.C. Dubar, and she lived in the backyard for years. That boy right there is autistic. He'd be so happy to have video games and set up down there, and he wouldn't probably say nothing about getting out. As long as that guy ain't mean to him.
Right. That's crazy.
But I hope he comes around, though, brother. Just me. I hope he comes around.
Of him though, like it's just that part sticks with me. No footage of him leaving the house. That part sticks with me more than any of the other information, to be honest with you. I'm sorry, but no footage of him leaving the house. If he was meeting somebody or somebody was coming around, you'd probably see footage of that person coming around. You know what I mean?
I could have been the flashlight too, then.
Yeah.
He come out with his flashlight. No, they were two little flashlights. Remember that?
No, remember that. I'm just going based off the PI said they were floodlights. That's what the PI just said. She sat down with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. They said they were floodlights, not flashlights.
Floodlights don't walk. They don't move.
That's what I'm saying. So they're okay. What's going on?
What if one of them was Sebastian and one of them was the other guy? And they went back to his house. Yeah, and if they're that brazy, they know where the cameras are. You'd never see them.
You would never see him, not one time.
I believe he's right there in that neighborhood.
But I just don't. I mean, in your mind, they would never see him. But I'm thinking in my head, damn, like how many people have cameras? A lot of people do. So it's like it's the normal these days to have cameras. To be honest with you,
I like search everybody's house in that neighborhood. Everybody in that neighborhood, search the house. That's the first thing I would start with.
That's crazy. Well,
because he didn't walk out.
Yeah, he definitely didn't walk out. That's for sure. He was seen going back.
But if it was in the next door neighbors,
yeah,
you would never see the camera.
You would never see him. No.
But good talking to you, brother.
Always good talking to you, Doug. Always good talking.
We found him
well today, boy. I got a damn light fever.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, I don't feel that way, but I'm all right though. I'll be good.
All right, man.
I'm losing my
Later,
throat.
brother.
Appreciate you, brother. God bless.
You too, man.
Lock your doors. Stay vigilant. Shout out to appreciate Dr. Arnold. Shout out to you, Doug. Goodness gracious. I feel like I'm getting sick. Literally. 678. What's going on? You're live.
Hey, T-REV. How are you, baby? It's Andrea.
I'm hanging in there, Andrea. What's going on?
I know you are. I'm not feeling good either, and I don't think that interview helped our immune system too much last night either. That was frustrating. I probably disagreed with 97% of what coming out of her, and it was just because I felt like she just kept turning to examples and situations, and what really hurt my heart was when we were trying to get you, but I feel that we're a family here.
Right.
And she kept turning to examples of fugitives, like, why? This is not a fugitive. It was specifically when she was talking about running away, and that just hurt my heart so much. But I do want to call, I want to read something to you. It's the full interview that Chris gave to WKRN, and I wrote it down verbatim, so it's just going to take me a minute. And I may comment and interject. I'll try not to.
Who said it took 2 men to load the garbage? Amy says it took 2 men to load the garbage in the morning, and they say Sebastian took it out all alone. I don't think so. Make it make sense.
Right. It doesn't make sense. I commented
on
on
to take
that.
the trash out. What did I miss something?
It did. Well, no, it doesn't state that, but what it does state way back in earlier interviews, like right around day 8, that the trash man noted and commented that the trash was heavier that day.
Okay. So that's probably why Amy is saying it took 2 grown men to take the garbage out. Because if it was, I can understand that it was heavy, and that's probably why they searched. Speculating wise, I'm just speculating off the top. If they searched, maybe it was because they noted that it was heavier than normal.
Well, and also we have to remember that in that neighborhood, the trash does not go to the landfill right next to it. It goes to the landfill in Kentucky. So I don't know what they're looking for, but I think that's a good thing that they did that right away, because it makes me feel like they were actually doing something. But there is a really, really good time-stamped and verbatim of the dispatch from police that morning, and it's just really informative. Have you heard that whole thing?
Absolutely, you're damn right. I have. That's it starts at 6:45 a.m.
Correct.
I seen all of it. Yes, I've watched it multiple times just to try to get a feel. But then this is kind of why I brought up at the beginning of the show. It's like they're treating it as a runaway, or treated it as a runaway for a while. Maybe they're looking at it differently now, right? Because we're 53 days in. They're definitely looking at it differently, in my opinion. But I know that? No. But obviously, just based off of what we've heard from this PI, they're definitely, taking a different approach.
Well, you're right, because your spidey senses are always on point. And when you think about that, it's more or less somebody's interpretation and somebody's opinion. It's everybody's trying to see Sebastian. Well, maybe the TBI watched that interview and said, hey, wait a minute. They specifically said he never ran away. Let's see if he ran away in some of the evidence we have. And when they question neighbors, he was under my car. Yeah, because he's obviously ran away. He Houdinis.
You know what? I just thought
he
of
knows
this
how to get to the.
It's a question that I'm going to have, and it's a question that all of us are probably going to have. If there is a camera showing him going outside and going inside, is there a camera that would show him going inside and going in, or going inside or outside if he went in the backyard? Is there a camera on any, is there a camera facing all of these exits? Those are questions that I have now when I hear, well, we see him coming out and going back in, but we never see him coming out again. Well, that's my follow-up question. Can he leave in a different area and not be seen on camera? Right.
Yes, of course. And there's lots of trees and cover, and it was maybe cloudy and rainy. We just don't know. But Seth specifically asked for footage of his son's proof being alive, and they showed him Texas Roadhouse. Not that footage. So why are they saying he was alive in that footage if they can't really tell if it's him? Number one. And why wouldn't they have sent that directly to Seth immediately if it was proof of him alive after Texas Roadhouse? I don't know. That's confusing to me. It just makes me sick. But I do want to say a good note today. I'm from Georgia. I raised my kids there, and it's almost the same thing, and it makes me sick. Charlotte Senna. Did you ever hear of Charlotte Senna when she was stolen pretty recently? It was back in October, I believe, from a campground. It was in Texas. But the reason I said Georgia is we have what's called a Maddie alert, and it covers all disabled individuals of any age plus the elderly, because an elderly man disappeared, and a lot of stuff like this happened, and yada yada. But you can look into it if you want. However, the good news is the person that stole her was just like the exact person you would think, and this is why I'm bringing it up, because now we're questioning not necessarily a runaway, but maybe, sex offenders in the area. And this was a sex offender in the area who lived like a normal person, was friends with everyone, to the point of the parents trusted him to babysit this little girl. However, when you looked into him deeper, he had all these offenses. He's living behind his mom's house in a freaking trailer, and that's where they find the little girl. And P.S., this is a little piece of inspiration for us all listening right now. She was found alive in a tiny cabinet, like I've told you, in the camper by the closet, alive in a sweatshirt. And she was horribly treated. I mean, she was, yes, everything you can think of happened to this girl, but she was found alive because the community were given alerts in the proper way. Everyone was given the proper information up to the minute, because it was, the parents giving every information they had too. It was like a perfect scenario for a missing child. No one questioned anything, but this child is missing. It was like the bike was by the side of the road, kickstand on. Nobody could figure out. Well, the guy, stupid enough and complacency, that he delivered a ransom note, and his fingerprint was on there. And thank God, because no one in the community at this point knew who he was. He had an 11-year-old daughter. Yeah, he was like a normal guy. So it gives me hope, because they had, his name is Craig Nelson Ross Jr., and he got 47 years as a registered sex offender, but that's not enough, because he could have got life and 100-year order of protection for this victim and her family. Now listen to me. Did you hear me? This child is alive. She knew what happened to her. She told everyone what happened to her, and this gentleman still got the minimum? Why is our system so messed? I don't get it.
No, I agree. This system's been broken though.
So I pray for all these children.
I want to read this. You can only fix it so much, really. But
I know, but
it needs change though, for sure.
That's not true. I believe that some people look at things like half full, half empty. However, when you say, one bad apple, no, that might be one bad apple sitting on top of a bushel of beautiful ones. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I want to read this verbatim to you, because I don't know if you've heard it. It's Chris. We talk about it whenever they call us on the phone, and he's talking about, what have you said so far? It's an interview. This is a case literally has got all these agencies stumped, okay? And I'm saying this very openly as far as, play in devil's advocate. Let's say one of us was suspected of foul play, and then he fumbles. Let's say something. There's no way that we would outdupe, why he chose that word, all these agencies. No way. There's no way. However, this 15-year-old boy, not Sebastian, not my son, and then his hands start clapping, has managed to dupe everybody. Call him Houdini. He always wanted to be a ninja.
Yeah,
and we kept goofing around. Well, he's officially done it. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to breathe heavy, because this just makes me so mad.
No, but those are definitely good notes.
He stops his hand clamping. Don't mean to cut you off.
No, keep going.
And then he says, "'Cause," with a single hand clamp, poof, nothing. And it's, the cops have told us this case will go down as a research study case, where they're asking the questions and looking for answers and literally nothing. Everything they try to come up with, like, and I'm like what? No mention of, he doesn't mention Sebastian. He doesn't, he doesn't even have emotion. He's just, that broke my heart. I just wanted to read it verbatim because there were so many questions about what he said.
But I get it though. I know I've seen the same notes and listened to the same exact. We've heard the same exact interviews. You know what I mean? We know, and that's why
I know
questions are out there. It is what it is.
Do you know for a fact if Seth did fire his 2 PIs because they didn't find enough information and hired 2 new ones?
No idea. That's not important, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
honestly
Well, that
think
makes
it's
sense.
important. It's Sebastian. Where's Sebastian at? You know what I mean?
You know
like
what,
I don't.
that-
He could have.
that
He
makes
could have
total
hired
sense.
5 and fired 6, and I don't give a shit. Where's Sebastian at? You know what I mean? At this point, like where it's day 53.
You know what? That
No
makes
sign of
sense.
it whatsoever. If he hired
Total
and fired somebody because they didn't get enough information, good for him. Because then he's feeling that not enough is being done. So I haven't asked him that. That's just, I don't think I would ask him that.
No,
Hey, did
I
you
agree
fire
now
him?
that we're talking.
You know what I mean? That's how I look at
I
it.
just wondered if you knew the information. I didn't expect you to immediately text him. I don't expect you to ever immediately text him when they ask
I don't
you
think
anything.
it's important anymore. Like that, did he hire any PI? I just think that information isn't important for the simple fact that where is Sebastian at? What we need is information about Sebastian, like knowing that he went inside or went out and came back in. That type of information is what we were looking for.
Do you feel like the PIs are giving him more information than the TBI?
Whatever's good. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or else
Good.
he would have never went and got him either. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that, he's optimistic. He definitely is. I mean, he sent me a prayer today. He's super optimistic to try to find his
I heard
boy.
you read it.
So
I heard you read it. It's beautiful.
he's on that mission. I appreciate you, Andrea. What do you think is going to happen here in the next week? Or is he going to be found, or is this just going to be another week?
It's going to be another week, but I still am going to hold out that he's going to be found because I just can't look the other way because I don't want the flame to flicker. I want it to be holding strong. He needs to come home.
We appreciate you, Andrea. Stay vigilant. Lock your doors. And thank you for being a voice here for Sebastian, Wayne,
Always.
Drake, Rogers.
I love you.
Day 53. We love you back. Good phone call. I appreciate it. Shout out to Andrea. This low-grade fever is getting me. What's going on? Talk to me.
Hey, this is Mary, and I hope you feel better soon.
I think I just come into under the weather. I got a fever. It was like,
or what's your kidneys? Okay, you may be getting a kidney infection from that kidney stone. So just watch yourself. That's the nurse. I can't help it.
it hurts down there in that right side.
Does it?
Yeah, it does a little bit.
Okay, well, let your doctor know because I'm telling you, from being a nurse, if you've had a kidney stone or you may have another one lodged or something, if you're getting an infection in your kidney, you don't want to fool around with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No.
Your back, then
I'm
your
gonna go to
groin,
the
then your. Yeah.
Again,
just take care of you.
It's been. I mean, why would I wake up and throw up at 4 a.m. last night? That was weird.
Oh yeah, you need to let him know. Have you called him?
No.
Let him know, dude.
I need to go in. That's all. I just need to go in.
Okay. Well, I'll just get off here so you
No,
can go
you're
in.
good. You're good. I'll go after when the show's over. I'm going.
Bless your heart. Well, I want to make this.
I'm
quick 'cause I
good.
know you-
I'm good. I'll be all right. I got Tylenol.
Well, we need your voice, so you got to take care of you. You know what I mean?
We'll be all
You're important in this. Anyway, just really quick, 2 things I was thinking of is that we have to remember. She said he went out. He was dressed in all black. The floodlights, are they floodlights that come on when there's activity? Like if an animal goes by and the floodlight comes on. My sister has flood.
That's a good point. I wonder if it is one. I don't know though. She didn't say.
Right. Like my sister's neighbor has one that stays on all the time.
Mhm.
They have one on with activity. And yes, if the leaves are blowing or the wind's blowing and the trees are moving, it can look like somebody walking through with a flashlight. And if you look at the picture of the lights there, you can kind of see that they're staying kind of in the stationary area if you just kind of relook at that. But when she said she heard a thud at the house, I'm kind of wondering, thinking back about this, because that had been somebody like hitting on the wall to get his attention. I keep thinking too that maybe he was befriended by somebody, and they got him out, and they didn't see him because he was in all black. And especially if he went on a side of the house where there were no cameras or lights, it could have very well been. Or if she locked him out, like some people had thought at the beginning, and he thought, well, I'll just walk to my dad's, you know, scared. Did somebody get him? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think the fact that he was because she said he was dressed in black t-shirts and black pants, all black. And it's a dark night, and you don't have lights and cameras on around your house.
Yeah, my goodness! You watched this interview, right?
I did.
And when you're talking about this in general, it just keeps throwing my mind right back to seeing him come out and go in, but not leaving again.
Right.
And that's what opens up those other questions. Well, if he went out back, would he be seen? If he went out, these other exits, would he be seen?
Right. And nobody's answered that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that answer until so again, that doesn't, I can't close my mind on there being a way for him to go in a different direction without them seeing him, because there probably is. You never know.
Right. But, right now, we'll be continuing to pray for Seth and for Sebastian, but I don't know if anybody else out there feels this way too, but being a nurse, I'm just telling you, you need to get to the doctor or the hospital, go to the ER. If you've got a fever and you're hurting, please go. Just, we'll be here when you get back. Take care of you, because we're going to need your voice tomorrow or the next day. So just take care of you. Okay.
I don't know why I've been feeling sick, but.
Well, you can get septic from a kidney stone really fast. So you don't want to fool with your kidneys. If you're throwing up and have a fever and you've had a kidney stone, you need to get to the hospital.
Today. I don't know what it is, but I definitely feel delirious.
Well, you may be getting septic, dude. So I'm telling you, old ER nurse here, Nurse Ratchet.
Man, that'll kick in my anxiety. He's reading all these comments. Oh man,
you need to go, and we pray for you. Okay.
Man,
Go. We're here. You'll be back.
I sound lethargic. Yeah. See, when I read comments like that, I'm already thinking I'm lethargic. My hands are cold, sweating. Like,
yeah, you need to go. Okay, I'm gonna get off.
And I feel weird. Like I can't smell anything. Nothing. I don't have no smell whatsoever.
That can be COVID. So you need to go get checked. Go get checked.
And my right side hurts though. My right side, like down in that area, hurts.
Is that where your side you had your kidney stone on?
When I woke up I woke up at 4 a.m. throwing up massively, but
yeah,
like 5 times. I couldn't even make it to the trash can. That's how bad it was. But a fever is freaking me out. I just checked my fever and I'm at 101.
Is it on your right side in your corner, your right groin?
Mm-hmm. It's like it's like right on the right side of my belly and a little bit down lower.
Do you have an appendix still?
Yes, I do.
Go to the hospital. That's it. Go. End the conversation. Nurse has spoken. Please go. Please. We'll be here for you. You need to get checked for kidney stone, and you need to make sure your appendix is okay. Okay? Please. Especially if you've got a fever and throwing up. We love you.
This is like within the last 3 days I've thrown up multiple times, so it's definitely weird.
Yeah. You can get a ruptured appendix, kidney stone issue, whatever, but you've got to get checked out like now. Go.
I'll go get checked out then.
All right, we love you.
All right, I love you guys back. Thank you. I will go get checked out. I'll end this and go now.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you back. Thank you, Mary. I'll end it and go now because I really don't feel good. I really don't, y'all. I feel very weird right now, so I'll end it and go get checked. I do feel delirious. I feel weird. I don't feel like myself. I feel slower. My hands are sweating. I got a fever. So yeah, I definitely need to go get checked. I appreciate everybody who came by today, and I will update you guys.